Hello everyone. Welcome to those who haven't been here before. Welcome back to those who have watched before. Thanks for coming again. My name is Leah Langley, and the film award season has come to a close. The Oscars were last night, and yeah, let's go over the Oscars. Particularly, let's go over like the predictions that I made and see how I did, and just kind of talk a little bit about the show and all those things. Before I even go down all those categories, and I'm gonna go in the order that I had my predictions in that video. If you watch that. So it's not going to go in how the order of the show was. So some of the bigger awards will be at the, like Best Picture, Actress, things like that will be at the end of the video. But yeah, so before I go down the who won and things like that, just to kind of talk a little bit about the award show. It kicked off with Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo singing. Ariana sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which was lovely. She had like a red sparkly dress on. The back of her dress had like a red heel, kind of like, you know, the Little Wizard of Oz hit there, a Dorothy song, and then Cynthia Erivo came out and sang Home, which was from The Wiz, which was, I feel like, just a nice little touch. Again, two Dorothy songs bringing in The Wiz, and then they came together and sang Defying Gravity, and started basically from like the whole Unlimited, started from there, and then they did the whole riff, and it was just fabulous and wonderful. That was a great way to open the show, I felt like, and then Conan O'Brien came, did some good jokes in the monologue, and then throughout the show. I think he was an alright host, and yeah, so that's really all I'm going to say about kind of like the thing. But it was an enjoyable watching experience, partly because of what was what we'll get into in a minute in terms of these awards. But yeah, so let's go into like how my predictions were and how I did, who ended up winning, things like that. I'm going to say for my first four categories, which I'm going to list here, are animated short film, live action short film, documentary short film, documentary feature film. These are the only categories that I haven't seen any of the movies in any of these categories. I made predictions. I honestly was just like going with what I was seeing online, what people were saying. I wasn't able to make like a knowledgeable prediction because, again, I haven't seen these films yet. I hope to see some of them. But yeah, so that's basically these first four I got all wrong. But I wasn't like, it was like fine, because I was like, oh, well, I just was going with what people were saying online, and they were wrong. I had no idea anyway. But anyway, so the first category we'll go over is animated short film. I predicted Magic Candies. The winner was In the Shadow of Cypress. Quick for them. Next is live action short film. I predicted Anjua. The winner was I'm Not a Robot. Documentary short film, I predicted I'm Ready, Warden. The winner was The Only Girl in the Orchestra, which that sounds, I saw, it was on Netflix yesterday. It's on Netflix, I saw. And it's a former orchestra girl. I'm like, oh, I'm going to look that up and watch that. That sounds great. So that was great. And then documentary feature film, I predicted Porcelain War, but the winner was No Other Land. This was the only category that of those four that I had like a preferred winner on. I hadn't seen No Other Land. I was going to see it last week, but then something happened the day I couldn't, and I wasn't able to go that day. That was the one I had like a preference for. I hadn't seen it yet, but I was like, it'd be so great if they would win. But I didn't really believe the Academy would. Well, I wasn't sure if the Academy would award it, but they did, and they won. They gave a great speech. That is the film that is made from Palestinian and Israeli filmmakers together. They gave an excellent speech talking about how there's a path forward to, you know, for them to just work together, and how there's a path forward if the Israelis can be safe, if the Palestinians are actually free, and all these things. Were just an excellent moment. And I can't wait to see that film, hopefully sometime soon. I was going to maybe try to go see it today, but I don't think it will work out. So hopefully sometime later this week I'll get to go see it. All right, so those are those first four categories. I got all those predictions wrong. So we're 0 for 4 so far, but it looks up from here. We do well from here on out. Next up is visual effects. Went to Doom Part 2, which is what I predicted. They won for visual effects last year, not last year, last Dune movie. So I was like, they're probably going to do a follow-up. I imagine in the Dune visual effects are awesome. Next up is sound. Dune Part 2 also won this. This is what I predicted as well. They as well won for the first Dune. Those are the only two Dune wins for the evening. So jumping ahead there. They won 2 of their 5 nominations. When they won for the first Dune, they won 6 of 10. There's been a lot of talk about Dune in terms of like, Denis Villeneuve hasn't been recognized for Best Director yet. How did it have so few nominations even this year when the first one had 10? And many people believe that Dune Part 2 is so much better. I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I do think a part of Dune Part 2 maybe not performing as well as the first one is because it was supposed to be released in November, but then the strike happened, and then they pushed it to March. So it's kind of just like, it's not necessarily, if you come out in November, it's like hot, people are talking about it as like the award season, voting is happening, like the little bits are like, it's more relevant. But in terms of March, it's so long ago, it was a year ago it came out officially March 1st. So I think some of that like recency bias does definitely help. That's why all of these movies usually come out at the very end of like the year. But yeah, Dune Part 2 is an excellent movie. It was one of my favorites of the year. I'm happy they got those 2 wins, but I do think it deserved more, at least nominations, recognition. Denis Villeneuve should have been nominated for Best Director at this point already. Because anyway, we won't go too far down that rabbit hole. But I'm happy for the Dune team, and we look forward to Dune Messiah, which I think might be filming this summer, which is exciting, or something like that. All right, film editing. This went to Sean Baker for Nora, which is what I predicted. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here. This was Sean Baker's second win of the night in the order that they did the show. He first won for original screenplay, which I also predicted, and then he won for film editing. And I remember when I made my prediction, I said, I feel like Nora is quite beloved by the Academy, and I said, like, we'll see. Let's talk about some of the big awards that I'm going to pick them for in the future. But I do feel like the Academy likes Nora and stuff like that, so they're probably going to like. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him film editing, and I was saying like he's probably going to be in store for a good night. Film editing is not something I usually like. Not necessarily I don't think about, but in terms of like making predictions, it would probably be one of those ones that I'm like, I don't know, just like a random one. I don't know. So when Sean Baker was announced as a winner for film editing, again, this was the second award of the night as the order they did on the show. I said to myself, I said, I said it's gonna go good for Sean tonight. As I kind of said, I was like, because even I feel like even him being nominated, some people were saying that maybe why wasn't Challengers nominated? Not necessarily like instead of him, but like picking up different films that maybe could have gotten it. I feel like him even being nominated, and I don't, like I said, I don't know a bunch about like the whole like how the film editing usually goes. I couldn't even tell you who the last film editors winners have been, but when he won that, I was like, okay, got it. He had four nominations last night, but we'll talk about Sean a little bit more later. I also want to know, actually, when he won his award, he went up there and he said, I consider film editing half of my directing and a third of my screenwriting. So, very great for Sean. Makeup and hairstyling went to The Substance, which is what I predicted. Very great. I remember when I said, like, when I was picking my predictions, I was like, did you see the movie? Like, who else is going to get, like, I don't get it. So they won, which I'm happy for The Substance. Costume design went to Wicked, Paul Tazewell. He actually is the first black man to win the costume design Oscar, which is fabulous. We only had the first black woman a couple of years ago with Ruth Carter. She's won twice now for Black Panther and Wakanda Forever. Also, I like to just note as well, which is crazy to me to even say this, what I'm about to say. Ruth Carter, costume designer, is the only black woman to win an Oscar twice in any category. In any category. Only black woman to win the Oscar twice. Crazy. So yeah, that was really great for Paul Tazewell. Got a nice little standing ovation. Remember, I was thinking about Wicked, and I wonder if they're going to be back next year, at least to some capacity, because the movie is out. The next movie is out in November. So I wouldn't be surprised if Paul gets another nomination next year, and production designers and all these other like things. We'll see what it looks like if they're actually going to continue to win. But I'm very happy for Paul. Production design went to Wicked, which was my prediction as well. Kind of like I was just saying, I wonder how it's going to be in terms of like when they come next year. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of new stuff to like look forward to in this next movie. There's new characters, there's new places to be. So I wonder, like, I was just thinking ahead. I was like, I wonder how the Oscars next year, if people are going to be like, we just voted for them, we don't want them to win again, or if it's going to be like so awesome and new that they're like, whatever. Anyway. Music original song went to El Mal, Amelia Perez, which is what I predicted. They had been winning some awards for El Mal already, so I kind of was like, I feel like even with all the controversy and stuff, I feel like they probably are going to still get that win. I did say in my predictions video that I think Diane Warren could have been a possibility, because I know like the Academy sometimes likes to do the Legacy Awards or Friendship Awards. Not that her song wasn't amazing from the 688, but even I watched The View this morning. Whoopi Goldberg started the show. She was there and presented, and she looks great. She was like, I just want to say, Diane Warren, like, we're still rooting for you. We love listening to your songs. She did the View theme songs. Maybe that's also a low note there, but anyway, it went to El Mal, Amelia Perez. Weird speech. They gave like a weird they started singing at the end of the speech. It was kind of strange. But anyway, music original score went to The Brutalist, which was my prediction as well. So we've been hitting the predictions. Have you noticed? We've done very well. The Brutalist. I made a note about this. Hans Zimmer's Dune score wasn't eligible this year because he did win for the first Dune, but his Dune score for Dune Part 2 wasn't eligible because it used some of the first Dune score, so it was like, you can't do that or something, or like it was too much, or I don't even know. But I remember, I feel like if Hans would have been in there, he might have been like a good person to kind of push, potentially. But I do think the Brutalist score was just like fabulous. I keep playing the scene from the opening, the title sequence. That whole moment, if you've seen The Brutalist, is great. And also I keep thinking in my head of while the intermission is about to happen, when we're reading the letter from Ezrabet, or Ezrabet's reading the letter to us, and it goes to the intermission. Great little bits of score. Also, obviously the whole movie is excellent, but yeah, The Brutalist got that one. All right, international feature film. I predicted Emilia Perez. I said with all the controversy, I feel like they still might eke it out, but my preferred winner, and I said was a possibility, was Ainda Estou Aqui, or I'm Still Here, from Brazil. And it went to, I'm very happy to say, it went to Ainda Estou Aqui. When they announced it, probably just maybe because of the camera placements, Penelope Cruz looked great. She announced it. And the camera person, it was like the Emilia Perez team was sitting on this left-hand side on the edge, and then the I'm Still Here team was on in the middle, in the back a little bit. So the camera person kind of panned, probably because they were prepared to go to either one or just whoever else they were around. They were walking, but you can kind of see the Emilia Perez team looking kind of disappointed, and then they turn the camera to focus on the I'm Still Here team. And that was kind of funny. Yeah, so Emilia Perez lost, but I'm so happy for I'm Still Here. It's Brazil's first ever Oscar. There was a video going around there's been a couple of videos of going around. The Brazilians are very passionate. We like the Brazilians very much. But there was a video going around of a bunch of Brazilians having a watch party with the Oscars cast on some building or something, and they announced I'm Still Here, and everyone's just jumping up so happy and everything like that. It's just really great. They're very passionate people, and I know they were pushing so hard for this film and Fernando Torres and everything about it. So I was very happy to see it. It's one of my favorites of the year. I didn't I made a video about my favorite movies of the year, but I didn't see Ainda Estou Aqui until a couple weeks later. I was saying maybe I should wait because I feel like I've been hearing so great things about this film. Maybe I should wait to do the video, but I was no, I need to just do the video. It's okay. But yeah, that if you haven't seen that movie, go hurry up and go see it. It's so good. So first ever Oscar win for Brazil. Very happy for that. Great movie. So technically a wrong prediction because I did say Emilia Perez, but I was saying I'm Still Here could have been a possibility, or it was definitely my preference. So I'm happy it did go that way. Next up is animated feature film. I was in between The Wild Robot and Flow. I predicted The Wild Robot. I said it's a DreamWorks movie. I think it's DreamWorks, or it's at a United States. It's been winning some things, but I'm very happy to say it went to Flow from Latvia. Also, it's Latvia's first ever Oscar as well, which is exciting. Also, it's the first independent film to win animated feature film. Both these movies are great. I would have been happy either way. Honestly, all these movies that are nominated, it was Flow, Inside Out, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, and The Wild Robot. I've seen everything but Wallace and Gromit, and those are all great movies. I really would have been happy at going to whoever, but Flow I think was excellent. I'm very happy it won. They gave a nice little speech. They were at In-N-Out Burger at the end of the night, I saw. So very, very, very great for Flow. So I got the prediction wrong. But that's okay. I'm happy. It went to my second choice, kind of my just in case. All right, now we're back to the up and ups because there's no more wrongs coming up. Anyway, so cinematography. I predicted The Brutalist. I remember I said in my video I don't know how the person's name is spelled LOL Crawley. Remember I said I don't know if is it LOL Crawley, is it LOL Crawley, apparently it's LOL Crawley because Joe Alwyn, who was in The Brutalist, they were all presenting their films, and he announced the winner, and he was LOL Crawley. I was oh, that's the name. anyways, I'm going on a tangent here. They won for cinematography. I was saying, I think because of all the VistaVision hype, like it would have been really hard for like I said maybe like Dune, Greg Fraser, who won for the first Dune, maybe they would get it again. But I was like, I feel like all the VistaVision hype is is gonna like solidify this, and it's like I said about the score earlier. I keep looking at moments of the film and just being like it's just so excellent. So great for them. We're moving on to the Writing Awards. Writing Original Screenplay. I mentioned before, went to Anora for Sean Baker. That was his first win of the evening. I was very happy. I wasn't sure. I was like in between. Well, I was confident. I was like, Sean, I hope we'll get it. But I was like, Jesse Eisenberg from A Real Pain could maybe sneak in and get it. But it went to Sean. Very great. They when they were playing the clips, they played this moment from the film of the Nor gang outside of the courthouse, and the lawyer saying like, oh, who's this? And they turn to Annie, played by Mikey Madison, and she's like, the lucky lady. That line always makes me laugh so hard. If you can find it, go find that line. It's so funny. So Sean Baker won for original screenplay. Writing adapted screenplay went to Conclave, Peter Schrein, which was, I also predicted that as well. Adapted from the book from Robert Harris, which I just read in January. It's an excellent book. And a great screenplay, great film. I'm very happy there for the writers. Best Supporting Actor, we're getting to the acting now. Best Supporting Actor went to Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. I predicted that. I think everybody predicted that. He's won. I don't think he's lost an award. He hasn't lost a big award, certainly. But he's just won everything. And after the SAG, officially, it was like, okay, check mark off. You're going to win the Oscars. Just, whatever. He is now I made a video some time ago about, like, people I consider to be co-lead performances in supporting categories. I'd say Kieran Culkin was on. I say like Zoe Saldana, Ariana Grande. To me, they all felt like co-leads. They were all in supporting categories. And I was talking about in that video how if Kieran Culkin wins, he would be, and he is now, to have the longest screen time for an actor, for a winner in that category. I believe he had like 64% of the screen runtime, which before the record was like 60 something. And the person who won before, I forget their name, you can watch that video if you want to hear more details, I remember like after they won, apparently it was like there was a big controversy at the time about like, why is he in this category? He's like the lead, yada yada. Anyway, Kieran Culkin, I have said multiple times as well, he is one of my favorite his performance is one of my favorites of the year. So I'm still very pleased for it, but I still am kind of like, this feels not like a supporting actor to me. But he gave a good funny speech, kind of did a callback to his Emmy speech when he won the Emmy. He's had a great like a year and some change with all the Succession wins, and then now all this A Real Pain wins. He's been doing great. So we did like a little callback to that speech about wanting to have more kids and whatever. So that was good. Best Supporting Actress went to Zoe Saldana, Emilia Perez. Similar to Kieran, I predicted this. Everyone predicted this. She's won everything. It was kind of like, okay, this is the last stop on the tour here. And similar to Karen as well, like I just mentioned, to me she felt like more of like a co-lead, didn't feel like a supporting actress. But I'm not the one voting. I'm not the one making up the rules here. So no surprise she won. That was it for Emilia Perez. Jumping ahead, Emilia Perez won 2 awards of the evening. They had 13 nominations. I saw that it's a record of like how many nominations versus how many wins, like how much the gap is, like how many they lost. But I do think a lot of the Emilia Perez controversy with the film in general, but also especially with Carlos Sofia Gascon, which Conan O'Brien had a couple of jokes out at the beginning. I think that messed him up a bit. But hey. All right. The lead actors now. Lead actor went to Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. I predicted that. I was in between. I said like Timothy Chalamet was the person who I thought could have had a shot as well. He did just win the SAG last week. But it went to Adrian Brody. I heard that Adrian Brody is the first actor, or the first anybody, to win 2 Oscars on only 2 nominations. He was nominated 20 years ago, I believe it was 2003, for The Pianist, which is an excellent movie, an excellent performance if you haven't got a chance to see that yet. and then now he's won again for The Brutalist. He hasn't been nominated any other times, or I saw someone say he has such like a weird career. Like, just this guy comes up 20 years later, comes up and wins another Oscar. He also gave the longest speech. This is for real, the longest speech ever at an Oscar. The last previous longest speech was 5 minutes 30 seconds, which was delivered in like the 40s, I believe it was, and his went like 5 minutes 40 seconds. The show was already going like long. They were trying to play some people off. They usually play off like the smaller, like they were playing off the VFX guys, the sound people. They were trying to do some of that, and they gave Adrian more time, which I'm not surprised that they usually do it for like the more recognizable names, the bigger awards at the end of the night, things like that. He was going, and then at some point he just kept going, and then they started playing some music, and they said, "No, please, I'll wrap up, please. I've been here before, please, yeah." And then he said that, and they stopped the music. Then he still went like another like 90 seconds, 2 minutes from like it was like crazy. And a lot of what he said was it wasn't like what he was saying was bad, or like some of it did seem a little bit like incoherent, but if you were to listen, it was kind of uncomfortable because I was kind of sitting there like, Adrian, like look at the time, like please, guy, hurry up. But yeah, he won. Great performance in The Brutalist. Of course, there's been the controversy around the whole use of AI and things like that. I saw someone just recently say, like, I feel like people are shifting too much, like, saying, oh, Adrian Brody used AI. It's like, well, he wasn't the one in the editing room, and not that they didn't, like, ask him if it was okay, but obviously he's not the one, like, making the final decisions on the film. So I think sometimes it's, like, I mean, I still think it's a little bit, like, but I don't necessarily pin that on Adrian Brody as some people maybe have been, or just like, and again, I feel like when you're just the more recognizable name, like some people don't know, or don't even know who the director is for The Brutalist or who the editor was, whatever. There's that, but yeah, Adrian's won pretty much everything. Though I was surprised when he lost the SAG to Timothy. I thought Timothy was excellent in Complete Unknown. They didn't win anything yesterday, but yeah, Adrian Brody got the win. Good for him. All right, next up is Best Actress. Now, this was the category, as it has been for a couple of award shows now. I've been the most interested in this. I feel like we've had the Best Actress race has been like one of the best races we've had like in the past, not like in these past several like Oscars or award seasons. We've had some great like last year we had like Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone. They were going like back and forth. We had Cate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh, they were going back and forth. We have Glenn Close and Olivia Colman a couple years ago. We have all these, like, there's been some great, like who was it going to go to? Like, we're not sure. So this is the category I've been, like, most, like, looking into. Again, like I was saying with Sean Baker, I felt like his night was going well. He had won film editing. He had won original screenplay. But that's, like, him. So it was still, like, actress might not go, like, this Anora way. Just because Sean Baker's got film editing, and I was thinking like, okay, that means he's probably going to get these other awards at the end of the show, but that still leaves Mikey Madison for Nora kind of like we don't know. But I'm happy to report I predicted Mikey Madison would win the Oscar, and she did win the Oscar, and I'm so glad. For me, in terms of like the race, it was between Mikey Madison for Nora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres, who could sneak in there. For Anda Estoy Aquí or I'm Still Here. I thought Fernanda Torres had a little bit less of a chance, but I do feel like obviously it's a strong movie, it's a strong performance. I feel like it's possible, you never say never. But Demi Moore has been winning a couple awards. She won the SAG last week, she won the Golden Globes, she won the Critics, she's won several things. But I still was like, I want this for Mikey Madison. One, because Anora is my favorite movie of the year, so of course I'm rooting for it in a big way. But I feel like since I saw Nora, I remember I went back to watch my 1-minute movie review when I saw Nora for the first time on October 31st. I made a 1-minute movie review, and I also made like a little follow-up video talking about it some more because I was I just liked it so much. And I was thinking back to that moment, and also since this past couple months I've been like, watching more about the story and how it came to be, and even like seeing little interviews of Mikey, and I feel like she just completely transformed herself. I feel like I've seen people who like say like they meet her or they like listen to her at a Q&A and they're like, oh, you don't sound like that. And I feel like partly Sean Baker is known for using kind of like first-time actors or kind of people who are not professional actors sometimes. So some people, I know Mikey Madison has said that she's done several like Q&As, things like that, or a screening, and people come up to her and say like, "Are you gonna be a professional actress now?" She's like, "I've been doing it for 10 years, but thanks," or whatever, because she's just, if you haven't seen an interview of her or something like that, she completely transformed herself, not only to play this character, who's someone who works in a strip club, but also, like the voice, learning Russian, just the whole like way of being. She's a very like introverted person, it seems, and shy, she has said. And I feel like she just knocked this performance out of the water. I mean, like I said, I do believe Demi Moore and Fran Torres were excellent as well. And I would have been happy if it were to go to any of them. But I really was like, I want this for Mikey. I feel like it'd be so great, especially because I feel like Nora's going to have this great night. It'd be great if their lead actor could win an Oscar as well. So she went up there, gave a nice little speech. And I was just so pleased. This was the one, like I said, I was the one where I was like it can go any way here. Like I said, I'm happy either way. But I was very, very happy that it went to Mikey Madison. Like I said, Nora's one of my favorites of the year. Yeah, Anora, great. And more on Anora, director, went to Sean Baker, as I predicted, for Anora. Quentin Tarantino actually presented that award to him, and when Sean went up there, he said, "Quentin, thank you for," he said, like, if you didn't cast Mikey Madison in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, there would be no Anora, so thank you. Mikey Madison was the person, she was in other parts of the film, but really, like, she kind of steals the last 10 minutes, something like that, of the film, when they basically are invading the home of Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. Anyway, she's the one who gets, like, set on fire and all these things crazy. Moving on. So, Sean Baker won for Best Director. He gave a speech talking about how people fell in love with movies at the movie theater. Like, that's just how, like, we're all here today. Let's support our movie theaters. Let's try to go out there, things like that. And especially I liked how he said, like, let's try to go to movies like when we can, because I know people like this, like, he didn't say this, but I'm saying, like, for me now, you know, people get set screeners, people can have theaters in their homes, things like that, but if you can go out to the movie theaters, I've heard that he's someone who, like, actually, like, goes out to the movie theaters. He actually went to go see Scream opening weekend, and that's how we, like, saw Mikey Madison again, like, remembered her again, right as Nora was basically getting, like, greenlit, and then he ended up writing the script for her and all these things. Yeah, so I'm very, very, very happy for him to win that. This was his third Oscar of the evening. Great speech. And to wrap it all up, Best Picture went to, you guessed it, Anora, which is my prediction as well. Just so pleased. Again, I'm gonna keep saying this, but after Sean won film editing, I was like, okay, so he's gonna win Best Director, he's gonna win Best Picture. I'd be shocked if he didn't. Like I said, the only one I was not sure about for the Anora team left was Mikey Madison. So Sean Baker, Alex Coco, and Samantha Kwan went up there, as everyone else did as well, to claim their Best Picture trophy. This was Sean Baker's fourth win of the evening, which is the first time ever someone has won 4 Oscars for one film. Walt Disney won 4 Oscars in 1953, but it was for 4 different films, or 3 different films. It wasn't one film. The point is, I've seen some people as well say, oh, well, Bong Joon-ho from Parasite won 4 Oscars in a couple years ago, but the 4th one was international feature film, which doesn't go to a person or the director or the producer or anything like that. It just goes to the country. So technically that one is not his. He has the 3 he won, picture, director, and screenplay. So Sean Baker is the first person to have 4 Oscars on one film: director, picture, editing, and screenplay. An excellent night. He was walking around. I'll try to get a picture of it with his, well, not walking around, he took a couple pictures with it, but I was like, how are you gonna, like, I assume you're gonna maybe take some home and then just, like, bring one to the party, because I don't know how many I'm gonna carry around all night. So that was excellent. Very, very pleased. I want to say, talking about Parasite, this is in the past 70 years, there's only been 2 films that have won the Palme d'Or at Cannes and have won the Best Picture at the Oscars, and that's been Parasite and Anora, both attributed by Neon. There's only been 4 films in all of that time to win both prizes. So yeah, very, very great. Very happy. Overall, my predictions, I had 17 out of 23 predictions correct. Yeah, but it was a really great night, really enjoyable show to watch. The Oscars are, I always watch the Oscars. I don't get people who don't watch the Oscars, but I mean, as I've grown up more, I understand like, okay, everyone's not into it, but the Oscars are like such a big deal to me, and all these like award shows. I'm a real lover of film, and I feel like this award season's been more fun. Not more fun, but it's been like it's fun when your favorite movie is like a front runner. So that, especially if you're watching the Oscars, it was like, oh, it's looking good for my favorite movie of the year, the one I'm pulling for the most, is doing really well. So that's always fun. But even when it's not, like, even if your favorite film is not up there or whatever, it's still just really enjoyable because you just can look back on this great year of cinema, and we look forward to whatever is coming up next year or this year. And yeah, it's just great. So I'm very happy to have 17 out of 23 predictions right. Yeah, I mean, I was just happy to watch. Now I will be watching until forever and ever and ever the Oscars and all these movies. So yeah, I will wrap it there. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think about the Oscars this year. What do you think about yeah, the winners, people who maybe didn't win? What are you looking forward to coming up this next year? The film award season has wrapped now, but we have so much more to look forward to in terms of film. Speaking of Bong Joon-ho, his new film's coming out in a couple of days with Robert Pattinson. There's all types of stuff going, so the tables will keep turning. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.